Well, hello and welcome to another installment of For the Living of These Days, Epiphany Edition. Tonight's topic, Shiny Happy People. We hear throughout Scripture, rise, shine, the prophet says, for your light has come. Also, that you are light. And science tells us that we're star babies, created in the image of God, Scripture says, of the very dust of the universe. Epiphany, then, is this time of light, not only light to the nations, but light incarnate, wisdom seeking Christ, paying attention. As God said in the beginning, let there be light. And it was good. And the darkness, as the Gospel of John indicates, has not overcome the light and will never overcome the light. So focus on the inner light within you when you are tempted to surrender to the dark. Teilhard de Chardin, the Jesuit scientist priest, writes, and I'm sure you've heard this. He writes, someday, after mastering the winds and the waves and the tides and gravity, we shall harness for God the energies of love. And then, for the second time in the history of the world, we will have discovered fire. Also, Teilhard reminds us that we are not human beings having a spiritual experience, but we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Puts in perspective the power of light and imago Dei, that you are created in the image of God. So in that, we are created in light and love. Thus, rise and shine, children of God. Because if this is so, then why do we settle for the limitations found in fear and suspicion? Why do we sell our potential possibilities short, content to self-medicate with the distractions of scrolling and consuming mass media, or being consumed into the culture of scarcity and supremacy of darkness? When we have been created from the stuff of divinity, why do we believe the lie of mediocrity and celebrity? Why do we worship at the altar of not enough? That drives the politics of our world and the religious nationals of our world. We have a choice how we will be in this world, and that is our ultimate freedom, that God has imbued in us God's image. So we settle for mediocrity at best when we settle for the way of pride and the way of flesh and self-preservation. So we must remember that we seek a higher love, that we are connected to a higher transcendent incarnation. For we are created in this image of divinity. You are light, the light of the world, as Jesus proclaims. You don't hide a light under the bushel basket. You let it shine. Science tells us that we are made of stardust. As one scientist put it, though the billions of people on Earth may come from different areas, we share a common heritage. We are all made of stardust, from the carbon in our DNA to the calcium in our bodies. Nearly all of the elements of our bodies were forged in the fiery hearts and death throes of stars. Putting that contextually in a Christ mode is that we are the resurrection of stars. We live resurrection lives. We are created imago Dei, in the image of God. We must live it. We must embrace it. We were created for so much more than golden calves and illusions of power, or the chasing after wind, as Ecclesiastes writes. Vanity of vanities. We are so much more highly imbued with the power of light. It is this pondering of the truth of that light not being consumed by darkness is where we should go. I am reminded of Thomas Merton's Revelation on the corner of 4th and Walnut in Louisville, Kentucky. In a portion of his revelation found in the Conjectures of a Guilty Bystander collection of his journals, he writes, "It is a glorious destiny to be a member of the human race, though it is a race dedicated to many absurdities and one which makes many terrible mistakes. Yet, with all that, God's self glorified in becoming a member of this human race, a member of the human race. To think of that, such a commonplace realization should suddenly seem like news that no one holds the winning, that we all hold this winning ticket in a cosmic sweepstakes." Merton continues, "I have the immense joy of being a human being, a member of a race in which God became incarnate, as if the sorrows and stupidities of the human condition could overwhelm me. Now I realize what we all are. And if only everybody could realize this. But it cannot be explained. There is no way of telling people that they are all walking around shining like the sun." Oh, such a claim of being human for such a time as this. Shiny, happy people living into that reality. That is our freedom, our choice. To live in the light is so much more than surrendering to the dark, so much more than scarcity and distraction. We were created for so much more if we truly see ourselves for who we really are. Created in this Imago Dei, you are children of God. Do not surrender to the merchants of fear. Closing with Teilhard de Chardin, he writes, "In the final analysis, the question of why bad things happen to good people transmutes itself into some very different questions, no longer asking why something happened, but asking how we will respond and what we intend to do now that it happened. Live out of that realization that you are Imago Dei." And until we meet again, peace.